Hello and welcome to Tips and Traps with Dave Adam. We're taking a look at the 13U Mavericks Baseball Club and Zach Boston, right-handed pitcher. We're going to take a quick look at ball break timing. As you can see, his weight is back there on his ball break, and in a foot strike, very short stride there, and very little or no hip-shoulder separation. As you can see, the heel's on the ground and shoulder turn, so we're off balance. With that, and you can see his finish there, and now we're taking a look at Caleb Constance. And we're going to slow him down a little bit for you. In slow motion as we get started here, as he takes a look down at the target there, and could use a little bit more shoulder load. And let's see if he gets it loaded as he breaks to the target here, and check his ball break timing as he breaks again a little bit early before transferring his weight. He does load the shoulders up and close, although the heel is off timing there, so the hip shoulder timing is slightly off, and you can see his biggest flaw there as he tips and just can't quite rotate very well through it with his shoulders or his hips and his ankles. It's a slight uphill delivery. Now we're going to take a little look here at Austin Throop in slow motion for you, and we'll take him into ball break there as he gets a little bit of forward movement there as his hips go forward, and the foot strike pretty solid, and then into his release point as he's spread out there pretty well, and again doesn't quite finish that very well as he slightly comes upward into his release point. So angulation a little bit off. This is Drew Swimmerton, lefty. We'll slow him down for you. Get up to the break, and slight weight transfer there, more of a bend at the knee there, and drops down a little bit. And then the foot strike there, he's got a little bit of heel rotation, a couple inches, but the shoulder needs to stay closed a little bit more to balance out the hip shoulder separation. Again, slight upward arm circle there as he reaches up to throw the ball, but quickly recovers and gets down through it pretty well. Nick Purdy, you can see right away off his line a little bit there, so his linear movements are off, and also a slight upward delivery. That ball break, I could see him leaning back, so the weight's back on the heel. That's improper. We're going to want to fix that. You can see the foot stride comes off the heel line, out stride line, and as he tries to recover, he goes back the other way and loses his balance. It's a slight upward shoulder circle and doesn't quite able to finish that. And now we're going to take a look at Drew Wyman here as we get into foot strike here. Heels down, so we have again no hip rotation into his release point, and we're going to try to match that with some good timing of the shoulders. So we'll check that out. As we can see, just the heel slightly up, so very little or no hip rotation, and the glove and shoulders pulling out. So definitely some improvement needed in the hip shoulder separation and the angulation, but nice loose arm there. J.C. Beeson, right-hander, as you can see up and down there. Not quite sure of his angle to the plate as he comes through his throws. A little bit of crouchy here, as you see crouches down there into a little bit of a turtle shell there. And then as you see he comes in a foot strike, pretty good shoulder. He's loading his shoulders nice, but again has to do a better job with the hips. And again you can see him really come uphill. Arm is leading the way there, as you can see the arm's getting ahead of the body and tries to really slug through it there. So some work to do with JC. Got another right-handed pitcher here as we're going to try to slow him down for you. As he gets up to his ball break there, we're taking a look at how he's kicking up shoulder load. In the foot strike, actually pretty good right there. We're finally seeing some hip rotation. I could use a little more shoulder rotation, but not bad. Again, comes uphill a little bit. Chris Heffernan, again struggling with that angulation with his shoulder rotation, as is most players 13 and under do. And a particular group had a lot of trouble working down and away to right-handed batters, as they're having trouble rotating those shoulders around into the proper position and release point. Nice tall leg kick there as he comes out of it and into his landing. You can see his symmetry's off with his glove and his throwing hand side. Very little or no hip rotation at foot strike again, and then again the timing's off there, and slightly uphill shoulder rotation, and things really get contorted and out of whack as Drew had a lot of trouble locating his pitches, his timing off, and a lot of his movements are off. Some improvement needed in this one. We got the big guy here, Dakota, Hunter Dakota here, nice tall. Again, little posture issue there as he's bending forward slightly and trying to get into foot strike. Still off balance, not really getting a good linear movement or forward movement into his foot strike. And a little light stride there. And another one here as we go into it. We're going to try to slow this down for you as we go up to the break here. Closes the shoulders off nicely. Pretty good setup there. Does have a little inside move there, but in the foot strike really dives off his line. As you can see him tipping off to the side there, getting himself into a little bit of trouble as he yanks that ball down and away and loses his balance. So a little posture issue at foot strike. Left-handed pitcher Richie Brogoli, and we'll try to slow this one down for you here as he kicks up into position, getting up the break. A little forward movement, pretty good linear movement, but comes offline. Again, that foot stride way offline there. Symmetry's off, shoulder rotations off, hip shoulder separations in balance, and a really uphill motion to his delivery. Again, Richie with a lot of problems locating his pitches. And now we're looking at Jake Wharton, big tall right-hander, as he's ball breaking there. Gets a slight weight transfer and comes around, but very little or no angulation. Need to really try to get him extended out downhill better with that long lanky body. Coming through, and again his timing slightly off with his hips. And we got a left-hander, Jake Leclerc. Again, you could see that little arch in his back there, that hump in his back as he gets the foot strike. Again, we got some hip rotation, but the shoulder rotation is mistimed as it opens up a little bit. And again, into his release point, you can see that head and chin kind of falling off to the side as the arm goes upward to his release point. And shoulder rotation. As he tries to adjust there, he gets through it but loses his balance. Jake Bullard, right-handed pitcher. One of the harder throws on the team there. We're going to slow him down a little bit. Pretty good form and posture up to the balance point, into the break. Decent weight transfer. We've got a little bit of hip rotation there, but we get into a little bit of trouble here as we come into the release point, as we got an upward arm circle again, and that head moving off his line slightly. Again, take a look at the side view here. It's in the foot strike. And you can see again the big tilt there is going to get him into a little bit of trouble with his location and power moving forward. So we'll try to make a little adjustment in the posture there into and through his release point for Jake. Owen McKiernan coming off an injury. I'm going to freeze him right there for you again. As you can see, he tries to get into his release point and just slightly off timing with his shoulder still. It's just slightly uphill. Owen Podolak having some arm timing issues with his body as shrinks down a little bit there into his break and then a foot strike. As you can see right there as he makes his turn, the elbow's leading the way there, coming around a little bit too early, which throws his timing off. As he comes into his throws, his shoulder's off timing. And again, slightly uphill with that hip rotation and heel as he tries to get down through it, but a little bit too late. Short arming it slightly. Gavin Moss, left-handed pitcher. And we'll slow this one down as we get a break. Never quite loads those shoulders up as he gets to the target, so whatever he does here, his timing's going to be off with his shoulder rotation. Although he does manage to correct it and gets pretty lined up, although that landing foot's outside his line. And again, as he makes his turn, that head's pulling off his line. You can see the extension and flexion there as that hip rotates to the right there outside. We want to try to get that hip to rotate around a little bit better, and again can't quite get that shoulder into the proper position to locate a fastball down and into righties. Again, pretty common theme here. And finally, Michael Michaud, big lefty. A lot of moving parts here as we get a ball break timing and a little bit of weight transfer that he breaks. Pretty lined up. Again, posture, slight hump back there. We like to taw him out, and he gets into foot strike. Again, straightens out now. Glove side off, shoulder off. Good, pretty decent hip rotation, but again, we got to match that with better shoulder rotation and close that front shoulder up a little bit. And gets through his finish, again with minimum angulation for a big guy. Ryan D here, right-hander. One of the better deliveries here we're looking at, and we're going to see a nice little load. He drops down a little bit. It does look like he's got his weight inside there. The hip looks like it is getting forward into his rotation. You can see the hips opening up a little bit, about 1 inch to 2 inches, and pretty decent shoulder close right there. So we do have some hip-shoulder separation. Into his release point, you can see decent angulation. He gets pretty level. Posture's off just slightly and comes down through it pretty well. Again, one of the better deliveries here. And the timing, we can improve and deepen the hip-shoulder separation for him. Finally, we got Foch, and his average speed there is 60 to 63. Probably sitting on 61, 62. So fits in pretty well, though Foch is 12. He fits in pretty well with the 13s here. So we can see nice hip rotation and matches that with a pretty decent shoulder being closed there. So we do have some hip-shoulder separation. And now we can see as he comes down through it, decent angulation, and Foch really battling to keep that head on line there as he comes through his pitch and his throw. Watch him one more time there. Pretty decent job for Foch. And now we got left-handed pitcher Ben Evans. You can send that similar crouch again. And ball break is slightly back, so we're going to have to improve his weight transfer at ball break. Gets into a pretty good position at release point there. As you can see, pretty good posture as he releases it. And the timing is not bad.